Spring football is officially upon us. What are some things that we need to preview just a little bit? Some questions that we would like to get answered during spring football for the Oklahoma Sooners. Got a couple of facets to these previews and questions, but let's just set the table a little bit. The standard in Norman, Oklahoma, they don't care if it's year two under Brent Venables. It's win the Big 12. And Brent Venables isn't making excuses either. Dillon Gabriel's not making excuses either. They want to win the Big 12 conference. And to be fair, feels pretty wide open. I know Kansas State won the thing last year, but they lost Deuce Vaughn. TCU played for a national title, still didn't win the Big 12 conference. Max Duggan's gone. Quentin Johnston's gone. We'll see what Texas ends up being with Quinn Ewers. We'll see what Baylor ends up being. You hear what I'm saying? There is no clear-cut favorite in the Big 12 conference to win the whole thing. In fact, I'd be surprised if Oklahoma isn't somewhere in terms of the top three odds to win the whole thing when it comes to the Big 12. So how do they get this done? I think Dillon Gabriel has to take the next step, and that's a tall order because he played well last year. 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, over 3,100 yards. To win the Big 12, though, they need him to have a little bit more from a production standpoint. And that's, again, not to dunk on Dillon Gabriel. Did a ton of things well. That's not even taking into account what he did with his legs. But during spring practice, I'm very curious to hear what the murmurs are around Norman, Oklahoma. Because you can't make absolute statements during the spring, but you can, like I've always said, you get to put the thermometer into the thing, take the temperature, take it out. Here's what we have a good feel for in that quarterback room. Here's what I would like to track closely to get a feel for this. What is the conversation around him and Jackson Arnold? What I'd like to avoid is, hey, Jackson Arnold, freshman's been on campus for right around 10 minutes. He's pushing Dillon Gabriel. He may not win the job, but he's going to push Dillon Gabriel. I wouldn't like to hear that as an Oklahoma Sooner fan because that implies that, again, a quarterback that was supposed to be at prom, it's been on campus for like a glass of milk, is going stride for stride, or at least keeping stride with a quarterback who's played a whole lot of college football and was your starter a season ago. Do not get it twisted. Jackson Arnold is the future in Norman, Oklahoma. And I promise you, everybody is well aware of that. Instead, what I would like to hear, what I would like to have a pulse for is, hey, Dillon Gabriel is really helping Jackson Arnold along. Jackson Arnold's going to be great. Dillon Gabriel is working with him after practice. They have a great relationship. You can tell when they go through during individual drills in the spring, you can get a good feel for that. Okay, you feel good about the direction that's headed. Not that Jackson Arnold is potentially going to put Dillon Gabriel in some kind of pressure to lose his quarterback job. I don't anticipate that happening, but I'm just saying those are some storylines you can kind of read between the lines with just a little bit to gauge Dillon Gabriel's progress. He is, from my perspective, the unquestioned leader of this football team. He came back for a reason, is to collect some hardware. And how they get that done, I believe, is him taking yet another step in this offense under Jeff Levy. Someone he's familiar with, an offense that he is comfortable in. Taking another step, though. Driving the car even more efficiently is what I need from him in 2023. Something I'm excited to get a gauge for during spring football. The defensive line. They have retooled it quite a bit. 5 transfers. Brent Venables went to work in the portal. Got himself some ball players. Also, PJ Adebaware. You know how we feel about him on this program. Got some thoughts on that. But before I get there, make sure you're subscribed. We do content year-round. Every single day, you can find me on this very channel talking about the sport that you and I both know and love, college football. All right, we're live twice a week. Subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we're going live, because we get in the live chat, we answer questions. It's like an hour-long party on this channel. The Hard Count, the People Show. So lock it in. Also follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Jody Pickell, a great medium for us to have a conversation and involve that into this show. And then also a great medium for you to know when we're going live as well. Okay, so we appreciate you in advance for that. Like I was saying, the defensive line, I think, is the key to them getting where they want to go. Yes, Dillon Gabriel, you would like to see him take a step forward. But with the way they retooled this room, it feels like the cupboard is now restocked. Like you allowed almost 185 yards a game on the ground last year. You knew that wasn't good enough? Guess who else knew that wasn't good enough? Brent Venables. So we got to upgrade personnel here. Goes to the portal. Of their 13 transfers, gets 5 defensive linemen. Did extreme home makeover on that defensive line. PJ Adebawore, like I already told you, is going to be a freak show in Norman. He's already on campus, already in the strength conditioning program, adding muscle mass, getting familiar with the playbook. He's going to contribute this year. I'm telling you, he's going to be a guy for you this year. Get familiar with the pronunciation. The defensive line for Oklahoma, to use a dad joke, is a lot like your keys. You ain't getting far without them. You ain't getting anywhere without the keys. And every dad likes to do that whenever they walk out of the house and they come back in and they forgot their keys. Oh, aren't getting far without these. That's the defensive line for Oklahoma. It is a trenches game now. You hear people say it's a trenches league with the SEC or the Big Ten. No. Throw conference to the side. It is a trenches game. And to win the Big 12, the defensive line will need to put forth a better effort. So what is the early return on investment when it comes to the spring with these guys? Are they meshing well? And you can get a temperature. Like I said, you get a temperature and you have one of two reactions typically if it's on an extreme spectrum in the spring. You get the whole, I don't know, we'll see. That's what people like to throw around when things aren't going to go well. Hey, we'll see, I don't know about it. Or you get the, hey, how's the defensive line doing? And they just give you the big eyes, and yeah, they're gonna be good. They're gonna wreak some havoc. You can spot great right away. And I would like to, for this defensive line, with all the new talent they have, and with PJ Adebawore being who he is, I would like to have that kind of reaction. They're gonna be good come 2023. Again, not an absolute, but taking the pulse for it, that would give me some encouragement for Oklahoma heading into 2023. Now, here's the last thing we need to pay attention to. What is the conversation around the last 5 spring practices? Because to keep it a buck with y'all, the first few practices should be won by the defense. Like, there's always that conversation around, well, who won the day of the offense or the defense when you're going through spring practice? The first few should be won by the defense for the sheer fact of the matter that offense is just more difficult to execute. It's more difficult to compete a slant than it is to play man coverage or to play a zone that you're familiar with. You can sort of trot out there, get synced up rather quickly, and be good to go. The last 5 practices, though, fair game. Offense, you've now had 10 practices to get ready. Defense, you're now familiar with who's more or less your 1s and 2s at this point in time, likely, depending on how Brent Venables does this. This Oklahoma offense, as well schematically, will exploit matchups. Even if it's practice, they will exploit matchups and take advantage of it. The last 5 practices, I'm curious to hear who wins the day. Because to be real, I don't feel a whole lot of pause about the offense being good enough. Like I already said, Dillon Gabriel, I think, taking the next step, you hope it happens, probably should happen. I think it will happen. The defense was the Achilles heel a season ago. Not the way that Brent Venables gets down, not what they expect from Norman, Oklahoma. But these last 5 practices, going up against an offense that I think is pretty talented, should give us a good gauge for how far along the defense is. Just kind of taking a measurement, taking a pulse, checking the temperature. Whatever kind of verbiage you want to use, I think those last 5 will tell us a fair amount about this defense. If they could win 3 of the last 5, I'd be excited about it. Now, the spring game, maybe it's a toss-up, but pay attention to how that whole thing goes because I'm excited to watch it. Spring football, man, it's finally here. I cannot wait. Cannot wait for us to just devour some spring football games. Should be a whole lot of fun. Again, make sure you're locked in right here on the Hard Count. We'll have spring intel. We'll have analysis. We will keep you in the know right here, okay? You found your home for college football year-round right here on the Hard Count on the On3 YouTube channel, live twice a week. We'll be live Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, and Thursday at the exact same time. So until then, we're going to keep the party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of the Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.